Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to look at one single universal event, a medical emergency, and see how the response plays out in three completely different parts of the world. And believe me, what happens reveals a whole lot about the systems we all live in.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Picture it. Someone collapses right there in front of you. It's a terrifying moment, right? But here's the thing. What you're told to do, the kind of help that shows up, and what it all ends up costing you, that changes dramatically depending on where you are on the map, and the differences are just staggering.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to follow one emergency call as it unfolds in the USA, in China, and in Taiwan. By tracing this single event, we're going to see how the instructions you get are one thing, but the consequences that follow are a whole other story.
All right, so you've made the call. You're on the phone, and that first voice you hear is the dispatcher. And what's really fascinating is that no matter where you are, those initial instructions have become incredibly simple. And there's a really good reason for that. So in the US, for example, a dispatcher is going to hit you with direct, simple phrases just like this one. They're based on American Heart Association guidelines, and the goal is to cut through the panic, eliminate any confusion, and just get you to act immediately. Notice what's missing. No complex ratios, no talk about centimeters, it's all about action. And this isn't just a US thing, not at all. As you can see here, Taiwan also ditched all that technical jargon like 5 centimeters deep for the exact same reason, to make it way easier for anybody to jump in and help. And in China, their official guidelines now push for simple, hands-only CPR to get past that public hesitation. Yeah, that's a fantastic question, right? Because for decades, most of us were taught you have to do both, the compressions and the breaths. Well, the answer is this really interesting mix of pure medicine, human psychology, and even the law.
So it really boils down to three big things. First, medically, for an adult who just collapsed, their blood has enough oxygen for a few minutes. The absolute priority is just to keep that blood pumping. Second, psychologically, it gets rid of the ick factor, that huge hesitation a lot of people have about mouth-to-mouth. And third, legally, strong Good Samaritan laws in all these places protect you. You're just trying to help.
Now, is it the absolute perfect solution for every single case? No. For kids, or for someone who drowned or overdosed, rescue breaths are super important. But, and this is the key, a dispatcher on the phone can't know that for sure. Their number one priority is to get you to do something, and hands-only CPR is way better than no CPR at all. Okay, so the compressions are done, the paramedics have arrived, they've taken over. You'd think the crisis is over, right? Well, not exactly, because eventually a bill shows up in the mail. And this is where our three worlds just completely split apart. Let's start in the United States. A single ambulance ride, we're talking about an average cost of over $2,500. And honestly, that's often just the starting point before they add on other fees. Okay, now let's jump over to China. Same emergency, same ambulance response. The bill comes, and it's for about $30 US. Nope, not a typo, 30. And then you have Taiwan. For that exact same emergency response, the bill is, well, there is no bill. It's zero, zilch. It's just treated as an essential public service, totally free when you need it. I mean, when you see these numbers side by side like this, it's almost unbelievable. The difference is absolutely massive. So the obvious question is, why? How can the price for the same life-saving service be so wildly different?
Well, the answer has almost nothing to do with the medicine itself or the equipment in the back of the ambulance. It has everything to do with the fundamental philosophy of how a country decides to look at emergency care in the first place.
It really all boils down to one simple question. Is an ambulance a business that sells a service, or is it a public good, like the fire department or the police, that everyone pays for through taxes, so it's there for whoever needs it?
In the US, the system is, well, it's a real patchwork. And get this. Over half of all emergency medical services are run by private for-profit companies. That means their whole business model depends on generating revenue, and they do that by billing you and your insurance company.
Now, just look at the complete flip side in China and Taiwan. Emergency medical service is overwhelmingly public. We're talking 95%. In China, it's government-run. In Taiwan, it's almost all part of the fire department. So their funding comes from government budgets and taxes, not from hitting a patient with a giant bill.
So when you put it all together for the US, the high costs start to make a lot more sense. You've got this messy public/private system, a total reliance on billing for revenue, the nightmare of insurance claims, and the big one,
EMS is often not funded as an essential service the way we fund police and fire.
Okay, so let's tie this all together now. From those first simple words you hear on the phone to that final, very complicated bill that shows up in your mailbox. This table just lays it all out perfectly. Look at that top row. Everyone's on the same page. The CPR instructions are simple everywhere, designed to get anyone to act. But as you move down the chart, things diverge, big time. The system model, whether it's treated like a business or a public good, is what ultimately decides the financial fate of the person having the worst day of their life.
And that's really the heart of it all. The help you get isn't just a set of medical procedures. The whole experience, from start to finish, is a direct reflection of a nation's deepest values about health, community, and responsibility.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head. That human impulse to help, the desire of a dispatcher to give clear instructions, the skill of a paramedic, that stuff is universal. But the system we build around that impulse and the financial burden we decide to place on people in that moment, that is a choice, and it's a choice societies make very, very differently.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When we talk about the cost of saving a life, is that cost really measured in thousands of dollars on a bill? Or is it measured in something else entirely, like our collective commitment to actually taking care of each other when it matters most?